Welcome back to the Battles of Civil War with Bang and Dang. Bang here, Dang over there. And we are fresh off the first major battle of the war, Battle of Bull Run, First Bull Run, or Manassas, whatever you want to call it, with a devastating Union defeat. We are coming back to you on with three different battles here tonight. Battles of First Mesilla, Battles of Athens, and the Battles of Wilson Creek. Wilson Creek being Class B or Class A battle, I believe. Class A battle for Battle of Wilson's Creek, and the first fighting in New Mexico and at Mesilla. So got a lot going on here today, and Union are on their heels. Completely different set of people. One we've heard of already. Nathaniel Lyons is going to be in this.
He's traveling, isn't he?
In this, well, no, because we're in the Missouri again. Coming up for Athens or Wilson's Creek. I mean, we also have the most northern battle fought in the war coming up here too. So good stuff coming around here. First one up is on July 25th, 1861, the First Battle of Mesilla. We got 300 strong on the Confederate side, 380 strong on the USA side, led by Major Isaac Lind for USA and Lieutenant Colonel John Baylor for Confederate States of America. We got some cavalry, infantry, and militia for Confederates, cavalry, infantry, and 4 artillery pieces.
Those 4 artillery pieces
for the USA.
Should reign supreme.
Well, we shall see. July 25th, 1861, at Mesilla in New Mexico Territory in present-day Dona Ana County, New Mexico, is where this battle's taking place. Following the secession of Texas in February of 1861. Haven't really had nothing about Texas or anything.
Right.
And they joined the Confederacy. A battalion of the 2nd Texas Mounted Rifles under Lieutenant Colonel John R. Baylor was sent to occupy the series of forts along the western Texas frontier, which had been abandoned by the Union Army.
Right. They figured they, might as well these.
I mean, might as well. They're there.
We might not see. We'll get a couple stranders here and there, but no major battle should come our way, guys.
Right. That should come this far. Right. Baylor's orders from the Department of Texas Commander Colonel Earl Van Dorn allowed him to advance into New Mexico in order to attack the Union forts along the Rio Grande.
Okay.
If he thought the situation called for such measures.
Right.
I think he would just be like, let's do it.
All right. Might as well. You might as well get.
Not seeing really much action over here.
Well, get rid of all Union, everything over there.
Right.
Convinced that the Union force at Fort Fillmore would soon attack, Baylor decided to take the initiative and launch an attack of his own. Smart thinking there, bud. Okay, they left during the night of July 23rd. Mm-hmm. Baylor arrived in Mesilla the next night, preparing to launch a surprise attack the next morning. However, a Confederate deserter informed the fort's commander, Major Isaac Lind. He's like, these guys, guess
it's coming on you. It's coming on you.
Really?
Damn, I thought we'd be safe out here.
Dang.
He's like, I specifically requested this location.
Like, dang. You're like, and you guys figure out how to use your guns yet? They're like, no.
I don't even know what's gun.
Well, figure it out. The next day, Baylor led his battalion across Rio Grande into Mesilla to the cheers of the population. Oh, got some Unionizers there? A company of Arizona Confederates joined Baylor.
Unionizers? You mean Confederate sympathizers? Baylor's the Confederate there, pal. Why'd they have to go across the Rio Grande? That doesn't separate Texas and New Mexico. Okay.
Oh, it was into Texas.
It was into Texas and Mexico.
All right.
Mexico's here. It comes down.
Right.
So, all right, that makes sense. Cheers to the population, though, by the way, which they have a lot of Confederate supporters in there in New Mexico.
Right. A company of Arizona Confederates joined Baylor here and were convinced to muster into the Confederate Army. July 25th, leaving a small force behind to guard the fort. Of course, you got to do that, right?
Right.
Lind led 380 regulars to the village to drive out Baylor.
There you go. Well, Lind approached the town with his command and demanded Baylor surrender. When Baylor refused, Lind deployed his men into a skirmish line and opened fire with his mountain howitzers. The infantry was ordered to advance, but heavy sand and cornfields interfered with this attack. Lind then ordered his cavalry, 3 companies of the Regiment of Mounted Rifles, to charge Baylor's men. Charge them, baby.
Okay. The Confederates shot many of the Union soldiers during this time, which disorganized the attack. The Union assault was repulsed, and both sides began skirmishing at the long range. Lind reformed, I know it's a waste of bullets after that. Lind reformed his command, but decided to retreat back to the fort. He's like, that was enough. With the Confederate troops and armed Arizona citizens in pursuit, Lind lost a disputed 3 to 13 men killed and 2 officers and 4 men wounded, while Baylor lost a disputed 2 dead and 7 seriously wounded with 20 horses killed. Dang, Baylor, that's a major mistake.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your horses. Why didn't they
I think
just?
that's worse than maybe the men.
Why didn't they just stay at the fort?
Lind? Yeah, I would have. They're going to attack.
Right. I mean, come on, you got the advantage there. So it's a fort.
Right.
At sunset the next day, Baylor ordered his artillery and more cavalry to reinforce him, while the rest of his command moved into position to attack the fort the next day. During the same night, the Confederates captured 85 of the fort's horses,
Right.
which formed most of the fort's transportation.
Of course.
Fearing an attack the next day, Lynn abandoned Fort Fillmore after destroying the ammunition and supplies in the citadel.
Hey, this guy's
take
smart.
note, Joe Biden.
Jeez.
He retreated northeast towards Fort Stanton across the dry Oregon Mountains via San Augustine Pass. Many Union troops apparently had filled their canteens with the fort's medicinal whiskey instead of water. Hardly wise for a summertime march across the desert country.
Idiots.
Obviously. But I mean, if you're going to go out fucking
Right.
big, freaking big, fucking big. What have we seen F words on the show?
Sure. Whatever, man. During the pursuit the following day, the Confederates are able to capture dozens of
Why even capture them? Just let them go. Who gives a shit? I guess you weaken their strength, but.
Right. The Confederates captured dozens of the straggling Federals.
Federales.
Lynn's dehydrated command, reduced to 100 men by this time, was overtaken by the Confederates, some of whom used a pass to intercept them, later known as the Baylor Pass. They were forced to surrender at San Augustine Springs, 27th of July, 1862. Still in one?
Obviously.
Right. The prisoners were paroled, and Baylor concentrated his battalion at the fort. He was like, we got to take that fort. That's what we came for. He was able to refit his command with the captured Springfield rifles and other captured equipment. Nice.
Okay, good for him. The Confederate victory at Mesilla actualized local overtures toward secession, which had been ratified by two conventions in March of 1861. On August 1st, Baylor declared the establishment of an organized Confederate Arizona Territory,
Nice.
consistent of the portion of New Mexico Territory south of the 34th parallel north. Baylor installed himself as his new territory's military governor and declared martial law. Oh, geez, this dude was a dictator immediately.
Right.
Baylor's success at Mesilla led to Henry Hopkins Sibley's ambitious New Mexico campaign the following February.
Oh, wow.
On November 25th, 1861, Major Lind was, by direction of the President of the United States, dropped from the Army rolls for abandoning his post, Fort Fillmore, New Mexico. Oh, damn. On the 27th of July, and subsequently surrendering his command to an inferior force of insurgents. He could have stood by and fight.
Easily.
And fought. I mean, geez, he had more men, artillery. They didn't have no. This dude's an idiot, and he's in a fort.
Right.
What an idiot.
Right.
This dude clearly just didn't.
Well,
want
he's
any
probably
part.
thinking he's miles and miles away from any help.
Doesn't matter. He could have took him on.
There ain't no United States forces out
Of course,
there.
he fled to a fort that was just nearby. It was Fort Stanton, which is
Probably wasn't that big then.
Capitan, New Mexico. 194 acres of area, so it's got to be pretty decent. Yeah. Dude's a bitch, dude. Dude's a bitch. And this even was used in World War II as a detention center for German and Japanese Americans.
Yeah, the Confederates got that one too. So it doesn't matter.
Confederate forces occupied outposts in 1861 at the beginning of the Americans. Yeah, because they're about to do it right now, because they already know. They're scared over there. These guys in New Mexico ain't shit for them.
Oh,
Jeez.
take that shit over quick.
Mm-hmm. So leads us to our next battle. Battle of Athens in Missouri.
Athens in Missouri.
We got the United States with 33 to 500 men. We don't know. We have the 1st Northeast Missouri Home Guard, commanded by Colonel David Moore. And the Missouri Army of the Confederates, Colonel Martin E. Green's commanding his division of the 2nd Division Missouri State Guard. So we got the Missouri Home Guard versus, so it's like the
same thing. Yeah.
It's like Michigan State, like that type of fucking thing right there.
Right.
2,000 men plus 3 cannons on the Confederate side over here, though. This was just a little small skirmish. Took place in northeast Missouri in 1861 near.
Oh, they were outnumbered 3-1.
Yes. Took place in northeast Missouri near present Revere and southeast Iowa along Des Moines River across from Croton, 3 miles southeast of Farmington. It has the distinction of being the most northerly of Civil War battles fought west of the Mississippi.
No shit.
And also of being the only such battle fought along the Iowa border.
Oh, wow.
It's the only time Iowa gets involved in the action, huh?
Right.
This one's a little sad ending. We've been hearing this guy for the first couple episodes, so just wait.
As a Brigadier General, Nathaniel Lyon pursued the secessionist
State Guard. I heard him in
Brigadier.
Gettysburg today. It's Brigadier. Yeah.
Brigadier. As a brigadier general, Nathaniel Lyon pursued the secessionist Missouri State Guard to the northwest portion of the state. Loyal home guard companies were forming throughout the state, while at the same time stranded secessionists were still attempting to organize. At Cohoca, Missouri, Mexican-American War veteran David Moore was elected colonel of the 1st Northeast Missouri Home Guard Regiment for the Union. Mm-hmm. Colonel Martin E. Green called up the 2nd Division of the Missouri State Guard for the South to a training camp on the Horseshoe Bend of the Fabius River. There he formed the 1st Cavalry Regiment, 2nd Division, Missouri State Guard. The lieutenant colonel was Joseph C. Porter, and the major was Benjamin W.
Shacklet. Good for him. Moore was faced by a grown secessionist force and by dissension in his own command. Mm-hmm. So he got people in his own regiment wanting to succeed out of there to the south. He determined to strike local secessionists, then fall back to Athens, Missouri, which is pronounced Athens. So I'm glad they corrected us. Right. So it's Athens, where he would be close to the Croton, Iowa Supply Depot and Iowa militia support.
Smart.
On July 21st, with the help of a company of Illinois militia and a company of Iowa Home Guards, he attacked the village of Etna in Scotland County, Missouri, and drove off Shacklet's MSG cavalry. Okay. He then fell back to Athens.
All right. So it's a little strategic going on here.
Yeah, man.
A punch and get back right quick, doing Floyd Mayweather kind of thing here.
It's like those RPG fight games where you just like
get back and you gotta wait your turn and all that. Yeah. Colonel Green responded by entering Edina in Knox County, Missouri, 31st July 1861, stampeding the local home guards. He then proceeded towards his target, Moore's Unionist Regiment in Athens. Meanwhile, several hundred of Moore's regiment received Springfield rifled muskets.
Oh, good for them.
August 4th, 1861, Green stayed where he was without cover, 7 miles west of Athens, while Moore attempted to prepare for attack. Several of his company commanders allowed men to visit home. Moore called for reinforcement from Croton and Keokuk, Iowa, but they would not cross the river in time to participate in this engagement.
This guy's only got 300 people.
Why would you allow your people to go home?
No. Hey, why don't you guys just go visit your family and probably not come back?
Right.
Your kids grabbing onto your leg. Daddy, please don't go.
I would advise you to tell your goodbyes.
What's that from the Patriots? Daddy, she finally talks. Don't leave.
Oh, the Patriot?
Yeah.
I think so.
And then he leaves like a dickhead anyways.
Right.
Jeez.
Like, damn, you haven't talked to forever, but
I gotta go. I'll be back.
Did you see what they did to your brothers?
Even though, I'm banging your mom's sister that, your mom died. I'm banging her sister now. All that good stuff.
That's a awesome movie.
It was a pretty great movie. Yeah. On the 5th of August, 1861, Colonel Martin Green's force of about 2,000 Missouri State Guardsmen with 3 cannons tried to capture the town from about 500 Missouri Home Guard.
Uh-oh.
Moore's pickets warned off the secessionists' advance at 5 a.m. Moore called out the regiment to begin assembling it for battle.
Okay.
Between men still absent on weekend leaves and removing the sick across the river, Moore only had 333 men in line.
Yeah, but the pickets and all that, dude, that's hard stuff.
Holy moly.
The pickets end up killing a lot of people.
Could you just imagine 333 of you are looking across a sea of 2,000 dudes?
Yeah, but like I said, the pickets are going to stop them all, and they're like sitting ducks there. So you can take out a lot. Green's much larger force surrounded the town on 3 sides. With the river behind the Unionists, Lieutenant Colonel Charles S. Callahan commanded the Union left flank. He found himself facing Major Shacklet's cavalry and James Neasley's 3-gun battery. Ooh. The Unionists had no artillery.
None.
However, Neasley's guns were Motley assortment, a 6-pounder, a 9-pounder, and a hollowed log, supplied with only a few solid shot and improvised canister.
Yeah, so he wasn't.
It was like
every few minutes.
Homemade garbage.
Right. While the artillery spooked the cavalry scout, it had little other impact on the battle. The first shot from the artillery passed over the defenders. That's what I was actually in Gettysburg today. They were walking, and every time there was a battle or something, they were like, "Do you notice how the rebels are always overshooting us?" So they must have not been good shot with the old artilleries and stuff. Yeah, they went over the defenders across the river and into the Croton Railway Depot. Another passed through the Benning House and into the river. Predictably, the log cannon flew apart on its first fire and played no further part in the battle. What the hell? That was a log cannon out of a log?
Yeah, they tried, man.
As the secessionists advanced, firing became general. Other than the lack of artillery, Moore's small force was much better armed with rifle muskets and bayonets versus shotguns and squirrel rifles. Wow. Squirrel rifles?
Oh, yeah, man.
Green's force contained many poorly equipped, untrained, and untested recruits.
Hey, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter the amount of guys you have if you're the weapon's you're only as good as your weapon. So, yeah.
Captain Hackney's home guard drove the rebels away from Stallion Branch. However, Callahan was unnerved by the sight of Major Shacklett's large force advancing. Callahan fled toward the river with one of the home guard's cavalry companies. And he's like, let's go after these sons of beaches.
Oh, he went back towards the river.
Right. Went back towards the river. Other troops held their positions.
So this dude's a pussy. He should be disbarred.
The advance faltered as they approached through a cornfield. Shacklett was wounded in the neck, and his demoralized men began falling back. Seeing this, Moore commanded his men to fix bayonets.
Fix those bayonets.
When you hear that, shit's about to get real, boys.
Then he ordered, forward, charge, bayonets!
Ooh, I love that sound.
This counterattack sent the Missouri State Guardsmen into headlong retreat. Oh, they'd see all these crazy guys coming at him with sharp bayonets.
That rebel yell?
Well, Union yell.
Oh, the Union yell, I mean? What do they got?
You don't know where we're at. They're probably just, make as much noise as you can while you're running towards these bastards. Neasley withdrew his artillery. He said, I'm gone. Most of the Union force was on foot, so the pursuit was very short. Although a few shots were fired at long range across the river by some Iowa militia, they played no real part in the battle. They were like, well, let me get in on this. Bang, bang, bang. By the time a relief force reached Athens, the rebels had already begun a general retreat. Wow, dude, that's like a David versus Goliath.
Right.
Not really, though. I mean, but
worked out.
Still, 333 against 2,000. It's damn good.
Well, Moore's small force succeeded in driving off a much larger force with few casualties. Moore reported 3 dead and 20 wounded. The full extent of the Missouri State Guard losses are unknown, although Moore captured 20 men, most of them wounded. Moore estimated 31 Missouri State Guard killed and wounded. Others claimed large numbers of dead. What is known is that Moore captured 450 horses with bridles and saddles, hundreds of arms, and a wagon load of long knives.
Nice.
The defeat was demoralizing for the State Guard's efforts in northeast Missouri. Yeah, that would be.
I bet it would.
That's a huge loss to old Confederate right there.
They lost the initiative and were obliged to continue avoiding capture by pursuers. Mm-hmm. Had they captured Moore's force, they would have obtained a supply of high-quality muskets from their captives, and they would have retained the initiative versus the Missouri Unionists. The war was hard on the town of Athens, and the emergence of rail transport after the war led to the demise of this river port. The state of Missouri maintains Battle of Athens State Historic Site in the ghost town of Athens. So now it's a ghost town, dude. Nothing there.
Wait, it's a ghost town? Well, you probably can't go there. It's in Mexico, isn't it?
No, this one's by Iowa.
Oh yeah.
We're in a different battle now, but it's the Battle of Athens.
Oh, Athens.
The other one was the Battle of Mesilla. Right. And our last battle of the night, Wilson's Creek Class A battle, led by Brigadier General Nathaniel Lyon, Colonel Franz Siegel, Major Samuel D. Sturgis, commanding the Army of the West, which had approximately 5,430 troops. On the other side was the Missouri Army and the Confederate State Army, which was commanded by Major General Sterling Price, Brigadier General Ben McCulloch, Brigadier General Nicholas Pierce of the Missouri State Guard, and the Western Army of the Confederate States, with a troop size of about 12,120. So once again, Union are way outnumbered here. It took place as the Battle of Wilson's Creek, also known as the Battle of Oak Hills, was the first major battle of the Trans-Mississippi theater of the war. It was fought on August 10th, 1861, near Springfield, Missouri, right by the Simpsons' home. At the beginning of the American Civil War, Missouri declared that it would be an armed neutral in the conflict and not send materials or men to either side. We quickly know what happened there. On April 20th, the secessionist mob seized the arsenal in Liberty, Missouri, increasing Union concerns in the state. The neutrality was put to a major test on May 10th in what became known as the Camp Jackson Affair. Governor Claiborne F. Jackson had called out the Missouri Volunteer Militia to drill on the edge of St. Louis and Lindo Grove.
Ooh.
Yeah, the governor, he took part and actually manned a battle.
The governor had clandestinely obtained artillery from the Confederacy and smuggled the pieces into the militia encampment, referred to as Camp Jackson. Captain Nathaniel Lyon was aware of this shipment and was concerned the militia would move on the St. Louis arsenal. Thomas W. Sweeney was put in command of the arsenal's defense, and Lyon surrounded the militia camp with Union troops and home guards, forcing the surrender of the militia. When he marched the prisoners through the streets to the arsenal, some angry members of the crowd began to press against the procession. Taunts and jostling eventually led to gunfire and many deaths. Mm-hmm. Most of the dead civilians Oh, yeah. Most of the dead were civilians, but several soldiers and members of the militia were also killed.
Yes, sir. We've covered a lot of this already, but a little refresher won't hurt. A day later, the Missouri General Assembly created the Missouri State Guard, which just got whooped on by the Missouri Home Guard in their last battle,
Right.
theoretically to defend the state from attacks by perceived enemies on either side of the war. Yeah, right. The governor appointed Sterling Price as the commander with the rank of Major General of State Forces. The State Guard was divided into divisions, with each division consisting of units raised from a military district of Missouri and commanded by a brigadier general. That's usually how it goes, because many of the organization's recruiting areas were behind Union lines. Many divisions were the size of a brigade, consisted only of a few regiments. It's fine.
All right. Fearing Missouri's tilt to the south, William S. Harney, the federal commander of the United States Departments of the West, which included Missouri, negotiated the Price-Harney Truce on May 12th, 1861, which nominally created cooperation between the United States Army and the Missouri State Guard to maintain order in the Missouri and protect it from outside interference. Jackson publicly declared his support for the truce, while secretly requesting that the Confederate forces enter Missouri to liberate Missouri from the federal control.
This guy's a piece of work, huh?
Right.
Jeez. After complaints by Missouri Unionists, Harney was replaced by Lyon, who was promoted to Brigadier General of Volunteers. Further undermining the fragile truce, on June 12th, Lyon and Jackson met at the St. Louis Planters House Hotel, and they last attempted to avoid a resumption of fighting. Both sides were inflexible, with Lyon demanding the right to inspect any area of the state for Confederate intervention, and Jackson refusing and demanding that federal forces be restricted to the St. Louis metropolitan area. So that you guys stay in St. Louis, you don't worry about the rest of my state.
Right.
Colonel Sneed, the only surviving witness to that meeting, stated that the meeting ended with Lyon reportedly saying, "This means war. In an hour, one of my officers will call for you and conduct you out of my lines." Lyon sent a force under Sweeney to Springfield, while his own forces quickly captured the capital and pursued Jackson, Price, and the now exiled state government across Missouri. Skirmishes followed, including the Battle of Boonville, which we covered. I don't think you guys got it because Dang deleted it, on June 17, and the Battle of Carthage on July 5th. In light of the crisis, the delegates of the Missouri Constitutional Convention that had rejected secession in February reconvened. On July 27th, the convention declared the governor's office vacant and selected Hamilton Rowan Gamble to be the new provisional governor.
So yeah, so all that show you guys missed, that was it right there, guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
By July 13th, 1861, Lyon's army of approximately 5,430 men were encamped at Springfield. His force was composed of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and 5th Missouri Infantry, the 1st Iowa Infantry, the 1st and 2nd Kansas Infantry, as well as several companies of regular Army Infantry and Cavalry, and 3 batteries of artillery. He divided the units into 4 brigades, commanded by Major Samuel D. Sturgis, Colonel Franz Sigel, S-I-G-E-L, so figure it out, Lieutenant Colonel George Andrews, and Colonel George Deitzler. By the end of July, the Missouri State Guard was camped about 75 miles southwest of Springfield, had been reinforced by Confederate Brigadier General Benjamin McCulloch, and Arkansas State Military Brigadier General N. Bart Pierce.
Militia.
Making the mixed Missouri-Arkansas Confederate force about 12,120 strong.
Damn.
Ooh, these guys ain't playing around.
Well, we've seen numbers don't mean a thing.
Right.
Price and McCulloch delivered plans to attack Springfield, but Lyon marched out of the city on August 1st in an attempt to...
He goes, our best method so far is just confronting these guys head on. And we learned from the guy at Helen's Hill, or Hank Hill's house.
A couple days prior, right?
That guy, he should have kept on moving.
Henry Hill, yeah. So he wants to do a surprise attack in the Southern forces. The Army's vanguard skirmished at Doug Springs in Missouri on August 2nd. The Union force emerged as the victor, but Lyon learned he was outnumbered by more than 2-1 and retreated back to Springfield. He was like, yeah. McCulloch, now in command of the Missourian Army, gave chase. By August 6th, his force was encamped at Wilson's Creek, 10 miles southwest of the city.
Uh-oh. Price favored an immediate attack on Springfield, but McCulloch, doubtful about the quality of the Missouri State Guard, preferred to remain in place. After Price threatened to launch an attack without a support, McCulloch agreed to an attack at dawn on the 10th. But when a rainstorm started during the evening of the 9th, he canceled his plans and ordered his troops back to camp. Rainstorm was perfect, actually.
Well, not only that, what a disorganized army.
Right.
I'm going to launch unless you have my support or not. Well, no, that's stupid.
Right, man, you're way out there.
Idiots.
A lot of these smaller things, dude, they weren't ran by nobody.
Well, they had brigadier generals and
right,
shit.
they weren't. They were like the bosses, basically. the main guys is miles and 1,000 states away.
Well, obviously, but still, there's one guy that runs the whole group.
Right. And could be most of them, which we've seen a lot of Western movies are.
That's true.
Corrupt bastards. Outnumbered line planned to withdraw northeast to Rolla to reinforce and supply, but not before launching a surprise attack on the Missourian camp to delay pursuit.
He was like, but before we leave.
First, pew pew.
Sigel proposed striking McCullough in a pincer movement, which forces simultaneously attack on both flanks. Good for them. Right. Okay, so they're going to come from both sides at the same time.
And then roll out.
All right, bye. Which would split the already outnumbered Union force. Yeah, you don't want to do that. He planned to lead 1,200 men in a flanking. He planned to lead 1,200 men in a flanking maneuver, while the main body under Lyon struck from the north. Lyon concurred, and in accord with Sigel's plan, the Union Army marched out of Springfield on the rainy night of August 9th, leaving about 1,000 men to protect supplies and cover the retreat.
Okay.
So they're taking about 1,200 men. Compared to 12,000 men. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we got the Army of the West led by Nathaniel Lyon and Major Samuel D. Sturgis. Their staff was Assistant Inspector General Brigadier General Thomas W. Sweeney. Chief of Staff was Major John M. Schofield. We got the 1st Brigade of Major Samuel D. Sturgis running it with 2nd Missouri Infantry, 1st U.S. Infantry, Company 1 of the 2nd Kansas Infantry, which was mounted, Company D of the 1st U.S. Cavalry, Company F of the 2nd U.S. Artillery. And all the names, you guys can go look up for that and select to go over. The 2nd Brigade was Colonel Franz Siegel's command, which had included the 3rd Missouri Infantry, the 5th Missouri Infantry, Company 1 of the 1st U.S. Cavalry, Company C of the 2nd U.S. Dragoons, Backoff's Battery, Missouri Light Artillery.
Okay.
The 3rd Brigade, led by Lieutenant Colonel George L. Andrews, the 1st Missouri Infantry here, 2nd U.S. Infantry, and Dubois Battery. Okay. So we got a couple batteries here.
Right.
The 4th Brigade, led by Colonel Deitzler, consisted of the 1st Iowa Infantry, the 1st Kansas Infantry, the 2nd Kansas Infantry, and the 13th Illinois Infantry, and the Home Guards.
No, you got that nice little...
Good for them.
Nice little thing here. Well, Confederate forces, you got...
See, that's the thing about what we're about to see here. Well, I guess not right there, but the Union always had way more people like in command and all that stuff than the Confederates did. A lot of go through people to get the stuff done.
Right. Well,
where the Confederates were just couple people,
a couple guys and a couple main guys. You know, that's all you need is a couple guys to run the show. Confederate forces that was at Wilson's Creek is Brigadier General Benjamin McCulloch, which we said.
This is the Western Army.
Right. McCulloch's brigade, which him and Colonel McIntosh led, was the 3rd Louisiana Infantry, 3rd Arkansas Infantry Battalion, 1st Arkansas Mounted Rifles, 2nd Arkansas Mounted Rifles, South Kansas Texas Mounted Regiment. Ooh, they like the mounted, huh? Pierce's Division, Arkansas State Troops, led by Brigadier General Nicholas Bartlett Pierce. He commanded the 1st Arkansas Cavalry, Carroll's Cavalry, 3rd Regiment Arkansas State Troops, 4th Regiment Arkansas State Troops, 5th Regiment Arkansas State Troops, the Woodruff's Battery, and Reed's Battery. So automatically we got 4 cavalries and a couple batteries. I mean, that seems pretty strong there.
Yeah, I don't even think this one needs... Then you got the Missouri State Guard commanded by Major General Sterling Price. His 2nd Division was commanded by Brigadier General James S. Rain, which included... they had divisions, brigades, and regiments. The 2nd Division of Brigadier General James S. Rains, and that brigade was Infantry Brigade Colonel Richard Hanson Waitman's command. They included the 1st Missouri State Guard Infantry, 2nd Missouri State Guard Infantry, 3rd Missouri, and 4th Missouri State Guard Infantry.
So all the Missouris.
We have Cavalry Brigade Colonel James Cawthorn's regiment of Peyton's Cavalry, McCowan's Cavalry, Hunter's Cavalry. We had an Artillery Brigade, which had Bledsoe's Battery. Then we had the 3rd Division, Brigadier General John Bullock Clark, who also commanded the brigade, which consisted of Burbridge's Infantry and Major's Cavalry.
All right.
4th Division, Brigadier General William Y. Slack also commanded the brigade of Hughes Infantry, Thornton's Infantry, and Rives Cavalry.
Okay.
6th Division, commanded by Mosby Parsons, who also commanded the brigade. Kelly's Infantry, Brown's Cavalry, Goober's Battery.
Okay.
It's just random names of people's stuff. 7th Division, commanded by Brigadier General James H. McBride, who also commanded the brigade. The regiments were Wingel's Infantry, Foster's Infantry, and Campbell's Cavalry.
So a lot. I mean, you got a little tiny bunch of bits and pieces here.
Yeah, we got too much.
Crazy.
Too much.
First Light, August 10th, 1861. The Union began a surprise attack on the opposing forces. Lyon's force overran the enemy camps, took the high ground at the crest of a ridge, which would become known as Bloody Hill.
I'm sure it was.
Early Union hopes for a rout were dashed. However, when the artillery of the Pulaski, Arkansas battery unlimbered and checked the advance, which gave Price's infantry time to cover and to organize lines on the south slope of the hill. Lyon organized a line on a southern slope of Bloody Hill, from which he launched an unsuccessful counterattack. Price launched a series of frontal and flank attacks, but also was unsuccessful. A shortage of ammunition in the Confederate Army was a factor in the Confederate defeats.
Okay. The two Union forces lost contact with each other with no means of communicating or supporting each other if anything went wrong.
Right.
Sigel's attack was successful at first. The brigade arrived in the Confederate rear soon after dawn. Artillery fire routed the Confederate cavalry units, which were encamped at Sharp's Farm. Sigel began a pursuit but stopped along Skegg's Branch. During the break, he failed to post skirmishers, leaving his left flank open for an attack. You can't be doing that stuff, guys. Meanwhile, McCulloch rallied several Confederate units, including the 3rd Louisiana Infantry and the 3rd Division from the Missouri State Guard, to lead a counterattack. See, you can't leave your flanks open, man.
No, this ain't looking very well. This looks kind of sloppy. What's going on here, man?
Oh, yeah, everything's sloppy in this first. Still, you gotta realize we're still only in the first 4 months of the war, dude.
Right. Sigel's men mistook the 3rd Louisiana for the 1st Iowa Infantry, which also wore gray uniforms.
Yeah, we need a certain sort that out.
Right. And withheld their fire until the Confederates were nearly upon them.
Jeez.
His flank was consequently devastated by the counterattack, and his brigade was routed, losing 4 cannons.
You know, at this point, anybody that has gray uniforms, shoot them.
Right.
It's their fault.
Right.
Don't wear gray no more.
Right.
Jeez.
Sigel and his men fled to the field, leaving the force under Lyon, Sweeney, and Sturgis holding out alone. With the rout of Sigel's flank, the momentum of the battle shifted in the South's favor.
Yeah.
Lyon was wounded twice and worried that the day was lost. He attempted to lead a counterattack. However, Lyon was shot in the heart. The old Lion heart. Chris Jericho, that's where you got it from, huh? And the charge fell apart after his death.
Yeah, when your leader's gone, dude, I mean, you're just demoralized after that. Poor Lyon, too. He rose to prominence in the first couple months and then dies like that, huh? Lyon became the first Union general to be killed in the war. General Sweeney was shot in the leg, and Major Sturgis, as the highest-ranking regular Army officer, assumed command of the Union Army. Lyon was the overall leader, wasn't he?
Overall.
So now we got Sturgis, the leader here. Despite still being in a defensible position atop the hill, Union supplies were low and morale was worsening.
What the hell is he doing in Missouri?
By 11 a.m., the Union forces had already repulsed 3 separate Confederate charges. Ammunition and men were nearly exhausted, and Sturgis retreated rather than risk a 4th Confederate attack. Probably smart.
Right.
Henry Clay Wood, in command of a company that helped cover the retreat, later received the Medal of Honor for the heroism he displayed in keeping his company organized and functioning as it left the battlefield. Yeah, because as we've seen in Bull Run and other places, nobody can retreat in an orderly fashion.
Right.
So
it's ridiculous.
At least old Henry Clay Wood knew what he was doing.
Right. He's like, calmly back off, guys.
Got to be organized, stay together, and
we're good.
Yeah.
The casualties were about equal on both sides, around 1,317 Union, and an estimated 1,232 Confederate, Missourian, Arkansas soldiers were either killed, wounded, or captured. Though the Confederate force won the field, they were unable to pursue their retreating Union forces to Rolla. Price wanted to start a pursuit of the Union force immediately, but McCulloch refused, worried about the quality of the Missouri State Guard and length of his supply line back to Arkansas.
Man.
With the victory, Price's Missouri Guard began an invasion of northern Missouri that culminated in the First Battle of Lexington, September 20th.
Which will have in a couple of months.
The Confederate and Arkansas forces withdrew from the state.
From the whole state?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. After the Battle of Lexington, so I guess we'll see what happens there. After falling back to Springfield, Sturgis handed command of the Union Army over to Sigel, At a council of war that evening, it was agreed that the army had to fall back to Rolla beginning at 3 a.m. the next morning. However, Sigel failed to get his brigade ready at that time, forcing a delay of several hours. Jeez, and what a... I swear to God, these people are stupid, dude. Along the retreat route, Sigel's men took several lengthy delays to prepare meals. This caused the other officers to force Sigel to turn command back over to Sturgis. Yeah, should have just let Sturgis do the whole thing. Idiots. That's dumb.
October 30th, the Missourians under Price and Jackson formally joined the Confederate cause in Neosho, Missouri. A rump of the Missouri State Assembly meeting in Neosho passed the resolutions of the Missouri Secession, and Jackson became nominally the governor of the Confederate Missouri. Jackson had never accepted his July removal from office by the state convention. However, the secession action was never accepted by most of the population of Missouri, and the state remained in the Union throughout the war.
Sure did.
So they tried.
They tried.
They tried this. We'll just make our own.
He had his little section that he probably ran. That's about it.
You know it. You know it.
What little control Price and Jackson did have was diminished by Confederate reverses during the battles of Fredericktown on October 21st and the First Battle of Springfield on October 25th. The Confederate state government was soon forced to leave the state altogether. Although Price enjoyed some Missouri victories, notably the siege and capture of Lexington, he did not have the popular support to remain in the field, eventually retreating to northwest Arkansas.
Okay.
After 1861, he was commissioned as a Confederate major general and led his forces in battles in Arkansas and Mississippi. While there were smaller incursions and skirmishes in Missouri, Price did not return to Missouri with a major force until 1864. He said, I'm back.
I'm back.
And better than ever. Got gray hair.
Right. Nevertheless, Missouri suffered extensive guerrilla warfare between Unionists and pro-Confederate bushwhackers, such as Quantrill's Raiders and Bloody Bill Anderson's throughout the war.
Mm-hmm.
By early 1862, Federal forces had effectively pushed Price out of Missouri. An army under Union General Samuel Ryan Curtis pursued Price into Arkansas, where General Earl Van Dorn assumed command of the combined forces led by Price and McCulloch. Outnumbered, Curtis nonetheless defeated Van Dorn's Confederate Army of the West at the Battle of Pea Ridge, 6th and through the 8th of March, ending any attempt...
In 1862, so that's like a year away.
Right. Ending any attempt by major Confederate to force occupy Missouri until Price's raid in 1864.
All right, we're getting there. The Battle of Wilson's Creek was the first major battle fought west of the Mississippi River, and the battle was known as the Battle of Oak Hills in the Confederacy and sometimes called the Bull Run of the West. The site of the battle has been protected as Wilson's Creek National Battlefield. The National Park Service operates a visitor center featuring exhibits, a fiber optic map displaying the course of the battle, and a research library. That'd be cool.
I'd like to visit that.
Live-in history programs depicting various aspects of the soldiers' experience of that area are presented on weekends seasonally.
Okay.
With the exception of the vegetation and the addition of interpretive hiking trails and a self-guided auto tour route, 1,750 acres battlefield has changed little from its historic setting.
Nice.
That's good.
Nice.
Allowing visitors to experience the battlefield in nearly pristine condition.
Oh, shit.
I bet you can probably still go there and dig up bullets and all that good stuff.
I don't know if you're allowed to take like metal detectors and stuff. I'm sure they already did that.
No, not on the battlefield.
Right.
No. The home of the Ray family, which served as Confederate field hospital during the battle, has been preserved and represents one of only two structures in existence during the battle to still be standing on the park today, the other being a spring house. In addition, the American Battlefield Trust has preserved 278 acres of the Wilson's Battle Creek battlefield.
I like to go to that house and just stand on that porch and to think how many soldiers stood on that porch.
Right, and were treated and got
right around that
cut
area.
off.
And we took a piss on that post right there. Or
right.
Sat there all day smoking their cigarettes and drinking the whiskey.
Well, I don't know about all day because it was like right at the battlefield.
Right.
So that was just a house. There's like bandage these guys up, get them back out there if they can. If not, then they're screwed. Imagine how many bullets fall past you. You're like, look out your window and you see damn battle, dude. It's crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff. And as far as I know, from what we've read, the only people using houses and shit as stuff like that are the Confederates. The Confederates are the ones holding up the random people's farmhouses and shit like that.
Well, they're usually people that support them.
Well, obviously, but still, it's a regular house.
Right.
Hey, man, this is our farmhouse. This is gonna be our headquarters for this battle. It's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Getting good.
Yes, sir. We're getting
good.
there. We're getting there. That's gonna do it for us. 3 different battles this episode. You never know how many battles it's gonna be. This episode is probably gonna be about 45 45 minutes long. We probably could have added another battle on there, but why?
Probably.
But why?
Yeah, 45.
Battles of the First Mesilla, Battles of Athens, and Battles of Wilson Creek was what you heard today. We will be back for the Battle of Charleston, the Battle of Kessler's Cross Lanes in West Virginia, the Battle of Hatteras Inlet Batteries, and probably the Battle of Drywood Creek, as those are all either skirmishes or a Class D battle. We do have a Class B battle coming up, Battle of Carnifex Ferry in Virginia, which is, whoa, what's it?
Hey, just a little bit. Just a little tiny battery.
Dude, this is a Class B battle, and this is all they have on it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so we'll have like 5 or 6 battles next week for our next episode. So yeah, if you guys are into history and stuff like that, go check out our other show called Outlaws and Gunslingers on the Creative Control Network. You can either search Outlaws and Gunslingers podcast or search Creative Control Network, and you'll see us on there, where we talk about Old West bank robbers, prohibition, mafia, gangs, criminals, law enforcement, all that stuff from the Wild West all the way up to present day. Anything and everything goes there as well. And we will be back next week for another installment of the Battles of the American Civil War. We are the Monthly Michiganders with
Bang dang.